Welcome everybody, my name is TurboDog702, broadcasting from Twitch, and I thought I'd make a video. I tend to make maps and run my campaigns, and I hope to run more campaigns on Twitch. So I thought I'd go over some of the tools that I use, because often I find when people jump into the chat, they need a little bit more explanation, or they want to see what types of things that I use in tools in my own game. So I thought I'd go over with them piece by piece. The first one that I'm going to use is a website that I use to kind of track my campaigns and go over them. It's called obsidianportal.com, and I'll be showing that to you all in just a moment. All right. So hopefully this is big enough for you guys to see. This is obsidianportal.com. This is the main page for them. And essentially you can go there and you can sign up to build your own free campaign wiki. Now, what exactly is a campaign wiki? Well, you can think of it like wikipedia.com. Essentially, you can create pages using either textile or HTML-based code, which they kind of teach you a little bit how to use on there. And you're able to quickly link between subjects inside of your page. And I'll be showing some of those steps and some of the things that you can do with that with the two campaigns that I'm currently working on. One is Phoneros, which is my Pathfinder campaign, and the other one is Arbadet, which is my D&D Next playtest campaign that I'm going to be starting up hopefully fairly soon. So, as a general overview of the site, I guess I could show you that. It comes with a few tabs across the top here. Home, adventuring log, the wiki itself, characters, items, forums, calendars, maps, and comments. Comments I never use, I'm not going to cover that in here. So, what am I going to cover? Well, on the homepage, you can simply put things that you want to introduce people to your campaign if you want to. For example, in Arbadet, I have a general news section, and then I have what is a kind of the genesis of the world that I created. And I kind of wrote it in a crummy poetic verse, but I thought I'd give it a little bit more flavor, given what the background of it is. As an example for Phoneros, I have general news. I use the crystal ball, which is a utility, a feature that I use to is basically a way to give characters a small glimpse at the next session, like maybe give them a paragraph or a note that they'll find. Kind of build anticipation. Tales of the Farseer, which was a tool that I was going to use to tell players other things that are happening in the world that aren't as close to them. So it keeps them connected with the world at large. You are also allowed to have an adventure log on here. And for Phoneros, I have a pretty extensive one, actually. It is, for this particular one, you can put session names if you choose to. It'll date them and time them as you post them. It allows for comments on each one. And basically, you can write down whatever you want. Many people do just bulleted summaries of their sessions. Like the PCs went here, this is who they met, this is what they did, this is what they picked up. And that's probably what I'm going to do when I get to Arbadet and run some sessions in there. But for Phoneros, I wanted to make it really nice, so I actually almost did it like a story in its own. So you can almost read this and get a complete telling of what the PCs have done. To expand on the idea of the wiki, as opposed to Wikipedia, you'll notice that many of the words here are actually in blue, and then some in light blue. And what this allows you to do is to link to other points inside of the Wiki tab. So for example, let's say that the PCs are reading through this, and they go, wow, like, I don't really remember what, say, the Fort Marquesas is. Well, they can quickly click on it, and it'll link to a page that you've written up beforehand inside of the wiki, and it'll tell them more about it. And then this, of course, can link into other things. See, like if they wanted to know about Northlight, they can click on that. And it gives them a little blurb about that, talks about the population if you decide to set that up. You can also put down other things. Because this is HTML, you can program it really however you want in those bounds. For example, in towns, I've decided to kind of highlight things like a chart, like population size, dominant races. I also put down like a point of interest place where I can put down taverns, special landmarks, things of that nature. Things that are in red don't have anything written on them. Sorry about that. This is a very large world. I haven't had time to write up on every single thing, unfortunately. Something else to note on the wiki pages. You have your public information up here, which is what your players can see. But another useful utility that this allows you is to set GM-only notes. And for example, these are things that you as the GM might know that the players might not know about. This can also extend to other things. For example, in the characters page, you can see that there are GM-only GM-only NPCs that only you can see and that only you can adjust. Since we're on the subject of characters, it also allows you to run character sheets inside of here so that you can quickly keep track of them and quickly reference them and keep track of what the characters have done over their time. For example, Avanios Aurelian, that's Swiftness's character in this particular campaign, I can click onto him and they have dynamic character sheets, but for this one I wanted them to build like a stat block like you would see in a bestiary. So I've decided to put the description for the characters as their class level and then which character is using them. But you can basically build stat blocks on here, and you can add descriptions if you so choose. And it also allows you to put in a bio, and in your bio you can talk about what you've done over the course of your adventures. It's a really nice thing, just to see where your character is going and to keep track of what your character's done. And of course, it also has wiki page links to all of the things inside of here. Like that's one of the nicest things about this is it's all self-contained. Everything can everything can mix with one another. You don't need to worry about doing lengthy links to everything. It does it in a very simple manner to jump from one place to another. Very nice website utility. If I'm going to look at Arbadet instead, obviously my adventure log doesn't have anything on it, but I have the same type of setup for wiki links, and I guess I could show you the wiki page ideas in here. So same thing, you can have your blues, and then I've kind of set it up into sections, like about and other, and I've further categorized it into more refined subjects. So I could say go into places, and say the PCs want to know about an Offerfell, which is the main town that they're in. They can go into towns, an Offerfell, and all of a sudden, you have everything that you need to know about this town if you put the time into it. That's a very important thing to note about this. It will take you time in order to build a wiki page that you are very happy with and pleased with, but it can be very rewarding, especially if you need to keep track of multiple things at once. So once again, we have our hyperlinks to multiple pages, and those all work. Like I can see what Heroes Heath is. I can see what the Lake of the Wormsung is, etc. The light blues, actually, since I went to that one, the light blues are links to the character page. You can link to characters as well. That's one of the utilities that they give us. And of course, here's a much more linear one. It's got the description, it's got the bio, and I've even separated it with little headers just to make it a little bit easier to read, so it's not just a huge wall of text. Same idea though, and then for this particular town, I've fractured it even more, setting up into history, economy, all those types of things. And these are things that you can do in your own campaign, or you can use none of them. You could make it very bare bones. Like if all you put down was maybe a quick notes with the population, the size, the dominant races, that could still be a very useful thing for you to use just for a quick refresher on what you've said about this place or what your thoughts were on a place. So we're going to go over to characters in Arbadet because I wanted to show you a dynamic sheet that they've come up with. You can also put pictures. That's also of note somewhat. So if I go into a character, I'll do Furor Grayson. This is this is an example of a dynamic sheet that Obsidian Portal provides you. And it allows you to fill it in completely, and it just makes a nice, clean representation of what you want to see on a character sheet. That's what I chose to do for this one because I wanted to make it more focused on the mechanical aspects of the characters. Foneros is more the storytelling aspect, the role playing of the characters, less about the mechanical. Now, if we look at items, we're going to look at items in the Foneros tab. Items allows you to categorize a set of items, and they could be anything. In the case of Phoneros, I've put magical items that the PCs have or have encountered, and I've also put in special items that they might that they have picked up along their way. If I go into these, you can go into say breastplate. And I've decided to put as the note who it's carried by, so that way I can quickly track who has it. You can put a description. And here I've put down what the item is under the description. But if the PCs haven't figured out what it is yet, you could easily put the description up here, and then under the secret GM info down here, you could place what the actual item is. And then you can also put down the backstory, which is a nice thing too, if you want to make it part of an overarching story or just keep track of how they got a hold of it. And that works for any item. For example, I got the breastplate up there. We have rites of passage, which are important things for the PCs at an earlier time in the campaign. Creased bag, which is a bag of holding, things of that nature. So you can identify items and put them into the wiki without necessarily telling the PCs what they are, but also keeping track that they do have them and that they could be important. Right. Another thing that Obsidian Portal allows you to do is it allows you to put down maps. And if you're a normal member, you're only allowed one map. And I'll get into the membership bonuses in just a few minutes. But essentially, when you go into the maps, you're allowed to upload one map. And as you can see, it has like little zoom features. Now, this is a bit distorted just because it's a different aspect ratio than this window. But if I go to view original image down at the bottom left, I can actually see the full map in all of its detail. And then you can do little zoom ins on it. You know, pretty basic stuff, but it's a good utility to have access to. All right, was there anything else that I immediately wanted to cover with this? Okay, so you can use this as the basic wiki, but I think I've given you some insight as to some of the things that you can do outside of the wiki, or outside of the wiki. Some of the things that I've mentioned, you can use it as a character tracker. It's a nice way to keep track of characters on a cloud system. It's a nice way to keep a campaign journal with the adventure log. It's a nice way to store notes for yourself and for the players, just to keep everything in order. And it's a nice way to have hidden information away from the characters that you want easy access to. Now, as for the membership, there are 3 functions that I can tell that membership does directly. You can see that there's calendar, which you can use to schedule events. There's forums, which you can use to create new topics and posts. And then maps is to add more maps. So if you'll notice when I go to forum and I say create a new topic, it's going to send me to a page. And basically what happens is you pay by monthly or yearly and you get what's called an ascendant membership. And it goes over some of the perks over here. Some of the notable ones is it allows you to have the forums, it allows you to have calendar, it allows you to do up to 10 maps, I believe, on your campaign. One of the other things, or some of the other things that are pretty nice, it goes over them. I guess I'll kind of go down the list. Secrets shared with specific players, so it's not only GM notes. If there's something that a player is trying to keep from the rest of the group. Let's see, what are some other nice ones? Multiple GMs in a campaign. This one can be important if you're trying to run a very open-ended, everybody gets a turn type of GM thing. That's a way to run that. Email notifications, advertisement free, so you can get rid of some of the ads that are on the side. And then you have a price, and the price point's $4.99 a month, $39.99 a year. So far, I have not bought the Ascendant membership. I might do it if I find that it's necessary, or if I find that this channel actually takes off and I get some revenue from it. But I've been able to use this on the free design for about 1.5 years now, and I've been extremely pleased with it. So that is a pretty quick overview of Obsidian Portal. Perhaps at a later time I will go over a second video where I maybe talk about some of the special things that I've done with my particular Obsidian Portal or some ideas that other people have been doing. But for now, I would say that that is a pretty decent idea of what you can do with this program. Other programs that I'm going to be talking about over time, I'm going to be going over map tools, and that's probably going to be a multi-part series because it's such a deep program. I'll probably be going over some basic tools that everybody uses that you can apply to your tabletop, like, say, Google Docs. I'm going to show you how to download GIMP and Inkscape, which are a free Photoshop program and a free Illustrator program, respectively. Maybe I'll have one of my friends talk about Hero Labs because I don't have access to that. We'll go over the D20 Pathfinder SRD, which is a website that has all of your Pathfinder information on it. And I'll probably talk about the D&D Next playtest as well when we get some time. But for now, that'll be the end of this section. I hope you all enjoyed it. Hopefully you learned something. Maybe you'll use Obsidian Portal, or just realize that it's there as something that you can use as a tool. Thank you very much. This is TurboDog702. Now we're going to get back to our regular broadcasting on this channel.